The proverb goes like rags to riches, but this story is the complete opposite of it. This is the tale of a poker player who was already an immigrant and walking on a thin line. The other side of that thin line was deportation. But that didn't stop him from making reckless decisions. If you're familiar with a poker player who recently went to jail, you'll know whose story this is. Shahram Sheikhan, also known as Sean or the Sheik in the poker world, but referred to as Sean by the feds. He has been charged by the Department of Justice with supplying marijuana to unlicensed and illegal dispensaries in Southern California. A distribution charge has been slapped on as well. He was selling directly to buyers through his business Canaland from 2019 until his arrest in 2021. Shahram, 52, and his partner in crime, Sabrina Williams, 26, pleaded guilty in June 2022 to different offenses related to running the enterprise. According to the feds, they delivered 6,600 pounds of marijuana to unlicensed dispensaries in San Diego. The two faced up to 40-year prison sentences and $5 million fines each. He had already forfeited $300,000 in cash seized at the beginning of the investigation. According to a press release from the United States Attorney's Office, Southern District of California, both of them were also accused of personally coordinating and facilitating the procurement of replacement firearms for the business's armed security personnel, and continued to operate their business and distribute enormous quantities of marijuana after being indicted. The press release goes on to describe how the Sheik and Williams were involved in an underground marijuana dispensary business that generated around $250,000 per week between 5 different locations. Although he pleaded guilty in 2022, his sentence hearing was postponed several times due to his and a family member's health difficulties. When Shahram reports to jail on January 1, 2024, he won't be sleeping behind bars for the first time. He served 9 months in jail back in 1995, in his early 20s, after being convicted of a misdemeanor charge of sexual battery with a 17-year-old girl. That aspect of his past was uncovered in 2007, when the U.S. Department of Homeland Security attempted to deport him back to his birth country of Iran. However, because the records of his offense were destroyed, a U.S. immigration judge dismissed the prosecution. But this was about his life of crime. And that's not all that the Sheik was about. He was also a professional poker player who was praised by many. Sean, born on December 29, 1969, grew up in Iran during a period of political unrest. He grew up in a country undergoing a revolution, so his early years were fraught with instability. As an adolescent, he witnessed firsthand the difficulties that come with being a religious minority in a changing country. At the age of 13, he and his family moved to the United States in hopes of a better life. They settled in Southern California and began the process of taking in a new culture and language. He was first introduced to poker while living in California, and he instantly fell in love with the game. He began playing in-home games at local card rooms, improving and perfecting his poker skills and strategy. When he joined the professional poker circuit, his skills were obvious. Throughout his career, he won several major championships and gained recognition for his daring and aggressive playing style. One of his most remarkable achievements came in July 2007, when he finished third in the World Series of Poker No Limit Deuce to 7 lowball tournament. His fearless attitude to the game, defined by his willingness to take risks and put his opponents to the test, cemented his reputation in the poker world. His reputation in poker goes beyond his playing abilities. It's also distinguished by his sometimes dubious table manners. One of the most noteworthy examples of this occurred when he had a widely publicized verbal altercation with fellow player Mike the Mouth Mattisau. At the 2005 World Series of Poker, he had a public confrontation with Mike Mattisau after he slammed the table after seeing a flop on a hand in which he was not engaged. Both players were penalized because Mattisau used language after Sheikhan's incorrect reply. This revealed what his hand was, giving other players who were still in the hand free information that could have changed the outcome of the hand. He was eventually eliminated in 11th place and earned $600,000. His heated discussions at the poker table didn't end there. Another memorable incident occurred during a game of Poker After Dark, where he clashed with Phil Hellmuth. Hellmuth accused the Sheik of constantly talking while holding Annie Duke's hand, even though the entire table was also conversing. Despite his sometimes contentious behavior, Sean had displayed his poker talents on multiple occasions. In March 2006, he advanced to the Final Four of NBC's National Heads Up Poker Championship, a remarkable achievement in such a renowned competition. During the early rounds of this competition, he even had the nerve to demand Gus Hansen, who he eventually eliminated, to discard his cards, all while holding 4 of a kind. His impressive performance in the tournament won him a $125,000 prize, but he ultimately fell short, losing to Ted Forrest, the eventual champion. The Sheik isn't the only opponent to be thwarted by Ted Forrest's mysterious heads-up luck. Now that we know a bit more about his poker career, we're still a little lost on what is happening to him right now. What happened to his case? Is he in jail right now? After he was convicted in 2022, he wasn't about to go down without a fight. His legal counsel presented a sentencing memorandum to the court, hoping to persuade the judge to consider probation as an alternative to incarceration. The defense provided a lengthy 33-page document outlining numerous grounds for leniency. Notably, several persons connected to the Poker Pro, including PokerGo president Maury Eskandani, wrote letters of support for Sean. The memorandum highlighted Eskandani's professional relationship with him, who had invited him to participate in numerous poker shows over the years. His legal representatives argue that a downward variance in punishment is justified. Essentially, they argued that the court should apply a less harsh punishment than the conventional sentencing recommendations for the type of offense he acknowledged committing. The defense's case for a downward variance is based on numerous considerations listed in the memorandum, including Sean's regret for his acts, his admission of guilt, support from personalities such as Eskandani, and the changing landscape of marijuana regulations. The defense emphasizes Shahram's acceptance of responsibility and genuine regret, since he has voluntarily accepted his mistakes without seeking to evade responsibilities. Furthermore, the legal team argues that probation would be an effective deterrence to future criminal activity because he poses no threat to public safety. His health difficulties, including degenerative disc disease, are also highlighted in the brief, emphasizing that they do not justify a prison term. He also voluntarily relinquished $191,000 in cash and property, which are currently in the government's hands. The defense asked the court to consider this forfeiture as an extra form of punishment when deciding the appropriate sentence. The planned probationary sentence would include home detention, mandatory drug testing, community work, and counseling. The document concludes with Sean's recognition of his conduct in the case, expressing heartfelt contrition and emphasizing full compliance with pretrial requirements with a firm commitment to abstain from any future involvement in criminal activities. According to sources, Shahram Sheikhan must surrender himself before noon on January 1st, 2024. His release is set for 2028. The usual sentence for this kind of crime is way longer, but it looks like he will get off the hook easily. Do you think he deserved this leniency? Or should he have gotten the full sentence for the crimes he committed? Do you think he would commit such crimes again in the future if he gets the chance to? Or will he try to redeem his poker career? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so we can tell you more about the lives of poker players and their downfalls.